Well, July came and went, and here we are in August with some pickups from July. Some interesting things. MoGameCon, I should say, took place in St. Louis, and Matt and I got to go down for the day. It was just a one-day con, which was great. Got to see a lot of great people. Of course, Captain Algebra, 8-Bit Glitch, Do You Nerd, Gaming Off the Grid, all kinds of people. Retro Mikey 78. It was nuts. It's too bad we couldn't stay longer after the con. Unfortunately, we drove there and we got screwed out of our hotel. Something happened with one of the beds or whatever, so they ended up setting us up in another hotel that's down the road about 3/4 of a mile or whatever, and it was horrible. Bad experience. The hotel was pretty crappy, and we just decided to not stay. So we drove the 5 hours back. Was not a very good experience, but the rest of the con was great. Adam Korlick was there with the Sega Pluto. I got to hang out with him for a little bit, went to his panel. I actually ended up winning the grand prize in the drawing for that panel, which was a bar top Miss Pac-Man cabinet from 1UP, which I am not a fan of the 1UP cabinets, and I'm not a fan of Miss Pac-Man. So I actually ended up giving it, or selling it, I should say, to Zap Crystal. She was there with her husband as a guest, and she totally really wanted it. So I figured it might as well be good to actually do a trade with her. So she was happy, I was happy. I didn't have to drag the thing back home and wonder what I'm going to do with it, because I had no place for it and I didn't want it. But it was cool that I actually won something. Did a little shopping, picked up a couple things, not a whole lot. Was mostly there just for the experience, because I had never been to that con. It was down at one of the colleges in their auditorium or gym. Very packed at the beginning. Things died down around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they ended up closing at 5. So it wasn't like they were really open all that long. There wasn't anything else there other than a couple panels and the vendors. So it's not like there was any arcades to play or any museums to check out or anything like that. As huge as like Midwest Gaming Classic was. So I mean, it was very chill. A lot of good deals. Prices were actually pretty decent. Much better than Midwest Gaming Classic. Even I was kind of surprised. A lot more vendors were willing to deal and compromise on prices, which is really nice. In fact, we'll probably just start with those pickups. So some gifts from Do You Nerd, Tom and Lacey. They ended up, Matt and I posed with the old barrel, so we got I met the DK barrel sticker from them. A nice little holographic sticker, which is pretty cool. And then Lacey, as a tradition at these cons, Tom and Lacey come up with this peanut butter and jelly shots. So to commemorate that, they gave out some coasters, which is pretty neat, with the peanut butter and jelly shots down there at the bottom. These things are delicious. I love doing those. So it's kind of a treat when they show up and they end up offering those to everybody. But as far as pickups went, this is kind of a curious one. If my camera will actually back off and focus, maybe it's the lighting. I don't know. Hopefully it'll fix itself. But towards the end, and I'm just gonna start with that. It was kind of funny. There's a table that we found, and they were offering 50% off all of their games on 2 tables. And they were, Xbox, some PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, some stuff there. But they had a Vita game. And what's funny is this Vita game would technically be my 400th physical Vita game, but it's a game that I already own. But they had it marked for $3, and the lady behind the table said, "You know what? $1. Just take it." So Matt ended up actually paying the $1 for it, but it's MLB The Show 13. Again, this is one that I already had. It is complete. It includes a little flyer on the inside. This is the normal retail cover for it, as I think if you look back a couple months ago, I ended up finding a very strange printed one that was offered by MLB with an alternate cover. So now I got a spare one of this one, but for $1 for a Vita game, I just thought that was hilarious. So, and Matt thought it was funny too, so he ended up picking that up. I also picked up 2 Sega Saturn games. I was looking specifically for imports, and these were kind of the better ones that I found. Although these are the ones that were included, I think, in the 1 gig RAM thing collections. But I got King of Fighters 95. And how do I know they came with the memory card because there's no backside. And oftentimes those games that were included in the little boxes that had the memory card often don't have the backsides of those because they're usually right on the boxes. And then I also got King of Fighters 96. So now I have 95, 96, and I think I have one other. I don't recall which one I have. I haven't really quite started cataloging my import Saturn games per se, but I want to say I have one other one, and I don't recall what it was. I hope it's not one of these. I don't know, but I got a really good deal on them, so it was hard to pass up. And the last game, this is one that was kind of on my radar just to kind of watch for, and I only found this one copy. It's a game that I do have for the PlayStation Vita, but it's in Japanese only, and it's super expensive here in the West on the PlayStation 4. I think it's going for like $90 used right now. But it's Azure Knights of Azure 2 on the Switch. Got this for a pretty decent deal. About average price really for it, but it's out of print. I haven't seen it in GameStop or anything like that. It's not online on their store. I've tried other places. They're sold out, so it just seems to be a really difficult one to track down. And I saw it, and I was like, I might want to grab that just in case. So, yeah, just another Switch game. Moving on to the other games. And surprise, shock and awe, the Vita games are back. I'm getting closer to my 400 goal, so as I stated before, I may stop at the 400. That was originally my plan, but then I ended up picking up these, and these have multiple versions across them, and I'll kind of explain that here in a second. But we've got MLB, well, it's technically Shogi Baseball, I'm not even going to pronounce that. But it's Shogi Baseball 2014 version. 2014, I think there's 2013, 2014, 2016, and 2018 that was released on the Vita, and these are Japan exclusives. We got this in the West it's a long-running series. I mean, clear back to the Super Famicom that these games were on. I think here it was known as MLB Pro something. But we did get kind of something like this. But it's just a cute little baseball game. They're pretty decent. So there's multiple iterations of that. And then I got School Idol Paradise. And this is Volume 2 of Volume 3. It's basically a rhythm game slash visual novel with these three girls on the front cover. Each Volume 1, 2, and 3 have three different girls that you go through. And they have kind of like an interconnecting picture when you put them together. But this one, I managed to grab on a, surprisingly, this one and the other one I got on a Whatnot app on an auction, so they were like super cheap. The guy practically was giving them away, and I think actually shipping was more than the games themselves. So they were in good shape, they're complete, so that brings me closer to mine. And then as a late birthday gift, actually this is bought clear back in February, my sister got me this for my birthday. This game recently released on the Nintendo Switch. This is Seven Pirates. The Switch got the Seven Pirates H, but I wanted to get the Japanese one since I didn't know if I was going to pick up the Switch version, but I did. So now I have both versions. There's not really major differences between the two. It does run a little bit better on the Switch, but with the Vita you get more of the interaction stuff that you can't quite do on the Switch. So there's pros and cons to both. Either way, you can't go bad. If you want the English one, of course, though, get them on Switch. If you don't mind the rest of the stuff, Vita would be the one to go, as we never got here in the West on the Vita. Then going back to more old school stuff, I picked up an indie game for the Dreamcast. This is called the Texture Syst, a story of Ray Bibia. And I streamed this. This is the collector's edition. Only 666 copies of this are being produced. They had a few left, and I grabbed it. This includes the soundtrack. It's on a 2-disc set in the Japanese style. This is actually number 320 out of 666. But it's front and back. And then it comes in this nice little sleeve. The interesting thing about this, it's kind of a a typing game mixed with a shoot 'em up. You can play with the controller or on the keyboard. It's also available on Steam if you really want to check it out. It's probably far cheaper on there. Kind of fun. Fairly decent length game. Follows a Exorcist who's kind of like a detective type thing. And you're solving this mystery of what's going on with the church. And it's kind of crazy, but fun. But the weird thing is these original prints from the game had a big major bug in it that would actually stop you from proceeding. So with each copy, if you buy it directly now, you get this replacement disc, the exercised version, which is the patched version. So you actually want to play this. They will be sending those if you order them from directly. This is from Game Fairy, so I think it's GameFairy.com or Google Game Fairy. You'll find their site. They will send you this at no extra cost if you get one of their physical copies. Let's see what we got here. Let's go into some more Switch games. Of course, one thing everybody ended up picking up in July, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I look forward to actually playing this at some point. I never finished 2, which is kind of disappointing, but I never really finished the first one either. I got about 80 hours into the first game and just kind of called it quits because it was just far too long and I didn't have the time to really put into it. I think I made it about the 50th hour mark on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I still have to play the Golden something or other, Golden Tirna. I still have yet to play that one, and then I'll dive into this one. But I love these games, even though it has like a gacha system, and I'm not big on gacha systems. But I dig the story, I dig the combat, so I'm looking forward to that. This is an interesting one. Another game I was kind of hunting down. Everybody was talking about this for a while, and then the game became super hard to find. It is available on Game Pass, but I wanted a physical copy, and Matt was able to track down a copy of this for really cheap. These games have gone up in price. The PlayStation version, again, is super expensive, but this one is AI The Simonium Files, Day 1 Edition. Looking forward to playing this one, especially since it's by Spike Chunsoft, who did the Danganronpa series. I loved those games. I super loved the visual novel style and stuff that were with little like action stuff mixed into it. So looking forward to starting that one. And then last for the Switch, from Limited Run, I got the Mushy hemisama, which is a pretty decent shmup, kind of popular around the arcade group that I'm part of. Looking forward to diving into this one. I know the Switch one has a little slowdown and some issues with it. It's not perfect by any means, but it is a port of the Xbox 360 version that Japan got. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I do love my shoot-em-ups. I do wish this was on physically on the PS4, but it just never came. So Switch version it is. Another interesting one, a reproduction game, actually, sort of an official reproduction, I'm guessing, but this is Gaiaris. I did get the collection from Retrobit, which came with the t-shirt, a nice little sticker, and this game, which has a nice little sleeve with the cover on it. Another shoot-'em-up game. Always wanted to have a copy of this, but of course the original versions of this game are super expensive on the Genesis. So I jumped at the chance of buying this from Retrobit. Looking forward to jumping into this too soon. Got a lot of shoot-em-ups to get through. Then we got one PS4 release, also released, not really a limited run set number, but it was part of the distribution. We got Windjammers 2, another really good game. And then a couple of Xbox One games here. We got Scarlet Nexus, because Tiger Chainsaw started playing this and said it was really good. The combat was really fun. So I tracked down the Xbox version, even though, again, this is something that was on Game Pass, but want the physical edition in case that disappears, because everything on Game Pass is only temporary and never there forever, unless they keep bringing it back, like Yakuza. But, yeah, there's that one. And then to go along with the Switch version, I had to grab this because I was afraid this would be super hard to find as well, and may jump up in price, and that is AI Simonium Files, the sequel. Nirvana, I think is what it's called. So once I finish the first game, I could jump right into this on the Xbox and not have to worry about the Switch version. Why? This is available on the PS4 and Switch as well, but I'm a sucker for achievements and trophies. So I wanted to get this on the big screen, and hopefully it'll perform a little better as well, because I think this one's a little more graphic intensive. So I decided to go that route. And one thing I forgot, also at the con, this really isn't much for me so much as it's for the 24-hour Dreamcast Marathon happening next month. A little bit of a plug there for that. September 10th, I've got the guys coming here. I'll be hosting for the first time the Dreamcast Marathon. Will be streaming 24 hours Dreamcast games. So one of the games for Pole Caliber is the fishing controller. I needed another one. This one was in the box. The guy was actually asking $60 for it. I still kept the tag here because I'm dumb. And I talked him down way below that. He had mentioned that he had it at the last 2 cons he was at, and nobody seemed to have any interest in it, so it sat there. And I was the only person who actually showed any interest in it. And I said, of course, because I don't have one that's in the box, and this would be kind of cool with the rest of my Dreamcast collection. So super excited that I have one in the box, and I have a second controller, which means I can actually provide everything we need for Pole Caliber. So look forward to that. That'll be the last game we play, as always, for the marathon. That'll be Sunday morning, just before 7 a.m. Central Time. Please tune in. We are raising funds for the Children's Miracle Network, part of our yearly thing that we do. You can see us geek out and play Dreamcast games for 24 hours. So super fun stuff. And that's about it. I mean, some mismatch of stuff. And then, of course, this weather is crazy for my hair. It is a mess, a disaster. It curls up on me. Hopefully, sometime this month in August, I will have a haircut and it will be much more manageable. So I apologize. I look like a bum. I feel like a bum. It's horrible. I wanted to get it cut today, and I didn't get around to it. So that's it for now. Look forward to seeing you guys next month. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.